Hi, I'm Jim Cheney from Troop 55, and I'm going to show you how to season a Dutch oven. Let's talk real quick about what a Dutch oven is. Dutch ovens are made out of cast iron, and there's two very popular types. The type with the legs on it, and the type without the legs on it. This is really the original Dutch oven. It was invented or first made really in the 1700s by the Dutch, and it spread to England and where it was improved. And this is really the main way that people cooked for centuries. It wasn't until the invention of the electric stove and oven that cooking really significantly changed. But the nice thing about cast iron and Dutch ovens is they're great for camping. If you think about when you're camping and you're using a stove, a Coleman or a propane stove or a white gas stove, all the heat comes up from the bottom. And it's great for throwing a frying pan on and cooking eggs or bacon. But if you really wanted to bake something like a cake or a pie, you wouldn't be able to do it on a propane stove. You need something like an oven. How this works is you put coals underneath the oven. That's why these legs are here. You put coals on the ground. The oven sits on top, elevated above the coals so that air can circulate in there. The coals get really hot. And then you'll see this lid has a lip on it. So you can put coals on the top, and the heat from the coals heats up the entire oven and acts like an oven, just like your oven at home. And that allows you to bake cakes, pies, desserts, spreads, appetizers, all kinds of things that you couldn't make on just your regular propane stove. So okay, I just bought this today. I actually bought it from the Scout store. Love buying things from the Scout store because the profits benefit the Boy Scouts. It's pre-seasoned. Well, that's great. To me, pre-seasoned means that when I pull it out of the box, the pot's not going to be rusted. We really want to season this correctly before we use it. I don't mean to disrespect Coleman or Lodge or the people who manufacture these, but the pre-seasoned pots, you know, it's better than no seasoning at all, but we can do a lot better job. I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is right out of the box. It hasn't been seasoned. It's got kind of a dull shine on it. This is a pot that I've been using for years, and look at the difference in seasoning. So this pot is going to be a lot less, or a lot more stick resistant than this pot. You cook bacon in this pot, you're going to be scraping it off when you're done. You cook bacon in this pot, and it's going to be pretty easy to clean up. Alright, so let's get to seasoning. Okay, so seasoning your Dutch oven. When do you think you'd want to season your Dutch oven? Is the only time you're going to season it when you first buy it? Well, that'll be the first time you season it, but I'll tell you, I've had Dutch ovens I've absolutely destroyed burning cakes and pies and cooking bacon too long, where I've had to strip the seasoning off the Dutch oven and re-season it. So, this pot we're going to season for the first time, and this pot we're just going to season again, because there's no sense in seasoning only one pot. If you're going to get your oven all hot or the barbecue all warmed up, try to season as much of my cast iron as I can. Other things you might think about seasoning: if you got a cast iron frying pan, they need to be seasoned. And of course we're going to season the lid. So if you're going to season something, you might as well season as much stuff as you can, because the whole process takes a couple hours. The main idea of seasoning is you're going to take your cast iron and you're going to coat it in oil, and you're going to cook it as hot and as long as you can. So let me start off by telling you this. When cast iron gets hot, you can't tell by looking at it that it's hot. Touching a hot cast iron pot or pan can really significantly burn your hands. So be really careful dealing with cast iron cookware. Secondly, if you drop it, it can very easily break tile floors, it can break toes, it can do a lot of damage, so be very careful when you're handling them. And lastly, during the seasoning process, we're going to be using the oven or perhaps a barbecue. It's really important that you tell an adult what you're doing and make sure they're aware of what's going on so you don't accidentally get hurt, set the house on fire, something like that. So those are my safety briefings. Okay. So what we're going to do, okay, let's talk about the oil. You can use all kinds of things for seasoning. I've read where people use shortening, like Crisco. People frequently use just plain old vegetable oil and paper towels. You take a scoop of Crisco, or you take some vegetable oil, put it on a paper towel. You're going to wipe the inside of your cast iron pot, inside, outside, all the parts of it that are iron you want to wipe down with the oil, and you're going to put it somewhere where it's going to cook. You can use the oven. It's the most convenient thing. What you want to do is set your oven on the highest temperature that the oven has. A lot of ovens, or most ovens, have 500. So get your oven warmed up to 500 degrees, coat your pan or your pot, put it in the oven, and you want it to bake for a couple hours. I let it bake for 2 hours minimum, and then I turn the oven off, and I just let the residual heat continue to bake the oven. It's hours later I'll come back when it's all cooled down, I'll pull it out. But it really will be hours. In fact, it can almost be an all-day thing before this Dutch oven gets cool. So be really careful. I just recommend never handle it unless you're wearing a pair of heavy-duty gloves. And so you just got to be really careful. The other thing is when you're actually camping, as far as removing the lid, it's very tempting to just go up there with your hand and lift the lid up. You're going to burn your fingers. So gloves or channel locks, you can lock on the lid and just leave them there. You can also take a coat hanger and bend it up so that you can just use the hook of the coat hanger to lift the lid up. So just be very careful of burning yourself while you're handling a hot oven. I like to use flaxseed oil. It's my big secret. Flaxseed oil, I know that I can't get it at Safeway. I buy it at Oliver's in Rincon Valley. There's something, excuse me, there's something about the chemical compound of flaxseed oil that I think makes for superior seasoning. So put on, I don't know, a couple tablespoons of oil in your pan. Take a paper towel. Rub it all the way around. You really want to coat everything, but you don't want it to drip. I say that because when you put it in the oven, you don't want your oil dripping all over your oven. Also, it's going to create an uneven seasoning. When you pull it out of the oven, you'll see where the drip lines are. So that part of your pot has got more seasoning on it than the part that doesn't have the drip. And you really want your pot to be consistent and even. So we do all around, we do the bottom, we do the legs, every little crack and crevice. Now you may be thinking, well, Jim, what do we need to season the outside for? We're not going to be cooking on the outside. Ooh, very true. However, it's going to prevent it from rusting. And as you see when we clean these, we're going to clean them with water. And you're going to go camping, you're going to leave it out for the night, and you're going to leave the lid out, you're not going to clean it up. It's just the way it is. I do it. Clean it up in the morning. And if the outside seasoned just like the inside, you're really going to reduce the chance that your oven's going to rust. And dealing with a rusted oven's a hassle. If your oven does rust, take a little steel wool, scrape out the part that's rusted, and just remember you got to re-season your oven. Because as soon as you touch your oven with any kind of a metal tool, metal appliance, metal scraper, you're scraping seasoning off. I never use metal tools in my Dutch oven. I always use plastic. Helps maintain the seasoning. So any utensil fine as long as it's covered in plastic or rubber. There's a rubber spatula. And even when I have hard stains to clean out, I use this little plastic scraper from Pampered Chef. So, okay, I'm going to finish oiling my lid. I'm going to oil my other Dutch oven real quick, and we'll head off to the fire. Okay, so I've got my Dutch oven and my frying pan all oiled up. I think we're ready to head outside and throw them on the barbecue. I like doing it outside in the barbecue because, to tell you the truth, the flaxseed oil, it kind of starts to smell when it's getting hot. So by doing it outside, it keeps the house smell a little bit better and makes the family happy. So I'll meet you outside. Okay, so here we are. Made a big blunder. On my first take of recording this, I realized that the frying pan and my Dutch oven aren't going to fit on the barbecue together with the lid tight. So I really want the lid tight. My focus today is to get this Dutch oven seasoned, so I'm just going to leave the frying pan off. I can do that later on. So our barbecue is at 400 degrees. It's climbing. When I looked at it about 15 minutes ago, it was at 500. And I opened it up and realized that all this pans wouldn't fit. So I'm expecting that it will make its way back up to 500. And if I can keep it at 500 degrees for an hour or so, that'd be fantastic. So take the lid off, put the lid down. Remember that since this Dutch oven has feet, we can put the pot right on top of the lid. The feet will create a void where the hot air can move around and still cook the top of the lid. Because remember, the top of the lid's oil too. So we'll just put the lid on and come back in a few hours, and we should have one nicely seasoned Dutch oven. Okay, so last night I came out to check my how the seasoning was coming, and the grill was still kind of warm and the pot was hot, so I just left it overnight. So it's been 24 hours. The weather's changed a little bit. I'm not worried about my pot rusting because it's seasoned. So it's got a good start. I'm going to do this probably 2 more times, and I'll have a killer Dutch oven that's been well seasoned and nothing will stick to it. So anyway, see you at the campsite.